Steam. Not the water kind, the game kind. I've never seen that in my life. There we go. This old girl has a whole lot of pups. 70,000 if we want to be exact. But much like puppies, there's always a little rat-looking runt of the litter. And I'm on a quest to find the most disfigured, decrepit, ugly rat indie game that has been thrown together by some Russian developer in the Siberian tundra. And boy, was it hard to choose, because I'm not sure if you guys know this, but about 95% of the games on Steam are from independent developers. Now, that may sound like a lot, but keep in mind about 70% of those are shovelware like The Last Hope, Trump vs. Mafia, North Korea, which are games that just have no positive reviews, are complete asset flips that are stolen off of the Unity asset store, and then are put on Steam for a couple bucks. Now, I'm sure most of us have seen these types of titles as we scroll Steam for hours on end with glazed eyes looking at games we're never going to actually buy, but few of us have had the opportunity to experience The Last Hope, Trump vs. Mafia, North Korea. And that's what I'm here for. To waste my money buying the video game equivalent of someone taking a steamy shit on my chest and trying to smile so I can make this video. And I think I've picked out a delectable buffet of teenagers' indie projects and productions from studios on the old Eastern Bloc. I'm not kidding, about half of these games are just translations from Russian or Ukrainian developers. I don't know what this says. If for some reason you're smart enough to know multiple languages but are watching me, let me know what these wingdings mean in the comments. Is that racist? Oh, it's Russian? Oh, we're fine. Let's hop into our first game. I Need Spirit, Drink and Drive Simulator. Then whatever these characters mean. Zeja Monichi. All the Chinese viewers I got, that one's for you. Glad you made it through the Great Firewall, my friend. So what does I Need Spirit, Drink and Drive Simulator, Zeja Monichi have in store for us? Well, it starts out with some real funky, fresh music. This isn't actually the music that's played in the game, because all of these games just use stolen music and assets that are uncredited and are actually under copyright. So this is DMCA-free, funky, fresh beats you can chill and get down to, so I don't get copyright striked. Now, this is one of the only games in the lineup that actually has a settings menu, so I quickly went to turn down the corn yodeling funk music blaring through my ears. However, the settings didn't work. They sure did slide back and forth, but it had zero effect on the audio in any way. Once you finally get dropped into your liquor transporting pickup, you realize this is going to be the shittiest racing simulator you've ever experienced. Every single inch of terrain feels the same. It doesn't matter if you're on wood or dirt or road or fucking water. Every single inch of surface feels like you're driving across a frozen lake like you're on Ice Road Truckers. The game also loves the idea of just placing walls in random locations and assuming that's an entertaining obstacle, but the genius that made this game placed them way too close together, so to actually make it through, you basically have to come to a complete stop and just awkwardly wiggle your way through. Almost immediately after that, the car got stuck. However, there is no way to reset your vehicle or reset the level, so I had to quit out to the menu and restart the entire game. Not to mention, the entire time you're playing, the mouse is just flailing around the screen because the developer forgot to fucking lock it. I've made games in Unity before. It's one line of code. Copy and paste this in your game, the mouse won't be there. It's one line of fucking code. Anyway, congratulations, you made it through the most boring 8-minute loop around a nonsensical map. Now, you get to do this fun little time skip and do it all again, but backwards. Ooh, but this time, you get drunk. The drunk effect is just the wobble post-processing effect adding to the camera, and all it does is give me vertigo and a headache. So, yeah, it's actually pretty realistic. I made it a whole 1 minute across the track until eventually I got stuck. Again, on the smallest hill imaginable. A Ricer's lowered Honda Civic could make it over this bump. Safe to say I just quit. I think I got the picture. I rate I Need Spirit, Drink and Drive Simulator, Zeja Monichi, a 4 stinky shits on my chest out of 5. Great game. Now, racing sims, if you can even call this that, have never been my forte. However, a first-person wave-based zombie shooter, that's always a good bit of fun. Call of Duty Zombies. Call of Duty Zombies, the other one. Call of Duty Zombies, except this time they're aliens. There's so many I can't even think. And yeah, the idea is a little unoriginal, but because of that, it means there's a lot of documentation and tutorials and resources, so it's pretty hard to fuck one up. Let me introduce you guys to a game called Mortos. First, let's read the developer's own description of it on Steam. Mortos is a FPS video game set in near future where the human race is dying after the arrival of the undead army. The hero has to fight and destroy completely all of the undeads in various maps or places that are in different settings/scenarios to restore the dead city and complete the goal. Now, like I said before, this is either a 13-year-old's pet project or a Serbian man's life's work, so let's judge it fairly. First, you're met with an absolute flashbang of a Unity splash screen, which is always a great impression when you're launching an indie game. Once you load in, you're met with the all-too-common menu music designed to pierce your fucking eardrums. Now, I'm positive this music and all of the other assets and code were stolen and it's probably copyrighted. However, I'm gonna risk that strike because I want to show you guys how absurdly fucking loud this music is when you first load in. Does this seem enjoyable? Or entertaining? Or fun? So after I physically turned down the audio in my speakers, I loaded into the actual game for the first time. Now I'm gonna move my mouse across this pad a single time just to show you guys how absurdly sensitive the game's native sensitivity is. That's fucking crazy, right? Now keep in mind, it can't be changed. None of these settings can be changed. My first time around, the sensitivity was uncontrollable and the game was so dark I couldn't see, so I immediately wasted all of my ammo and then promptly died. I loaded back to the menu and tried to launch one of the maps that take place during the day. To my chagrin, the lighting isn't baked well, or at all, because the shadows are just limitless voids and the sun is nuclear radiation getting blasted into your eyes. Now, after a while, I actually started to slightly enjoy the game a little bit. There was a fun mix of different enemies and they all had different drops and you get to use fun guns. All of them stolen, obviously, but point still stands. The problem was, once I killed all the enemies that initially spawn around you, I realized that they don't come to you. You have to walk around the map and find the zombies, and only when you're within a specific distance will they actually try to run towards you and attack you, resulting in me not being able to find any more enemies. I circled the map a good 3 times, but there was nothing. There was no more waves, there was no more zombies, not a single enemy. Apparently in the reviews I read, there's like up to 10 waves, but I never got to experience that. 3.5 stinky shits out of 5. Now, up until this point, we've run into the category of game where it's so broken, it's easy. Now we're getting into the area where it's so broken you can feel every single fucking neuron in your brain get fried at the same time. Let me introduce you guys to a game called Alpha Xylon. Now, this is a small indie side-scroller made in 2007, as you can probably tell by the aspect ratio on the recording. First off, the controls. I have never seen a more antiquated, obnoxious, and nonsensical control scheme in my entire life. You can't move using WASD. You have to use the arrow keys. Not only that, but the way you attack is not by using left click on the mouse, but by pressing 0 on the number pad. And the way you jump is not by using spacebar, but by pressing 1 on the number pad. So the way you control the character in the game is by crab clawing the right side of your keyboard. This is a photo I took with the camera inside my mouth so I could have both my hands in the photo. Now the first level is relatively fun. You kind of just jump over these very hidden spike pits, wait behind bushes for multiple minutes until enemies walk towards you, and then this weird cinematic of you blowing up this bridge. But when it gets really mind-melting and skull-fucking is Mission 2, which is somehow a tower defense section. How we went from side-scroller to that, I'm not exactly sure, but they pulled it off. If you want a little sneak peek into what it's like to play the game, this is a photo I took of myself after I beat the final mission. This is the face of a broken man. Tell me this is the face of a man who wants to be alive and nobody will agree with you. It is, and I really want to drive these points home, an unskippable, 5-minute long tower defense section with randomly spawning enemies, rocket launcher enemies that one-shot you if you don't kill them as soon as they spawn, and no regenerating health. And if you die, the clock is reset all the way back to 5 minutes again, and the whole thing starts over. Once you start nearing the end of the mission, enemies spawn in a full 360-degree circle around you, meaning you have to constantly sweep back and forth like a fucking crackhead defending his tent city. Meaning I sat in this shitty village in Vietnam for 30 minutes until I looked like this. Once I beat that mission, the game said I had the opportunity to play Mission 3. However, the game also rolled credits and then booted me to the menu, so I just quit because I can't fucking do any more of this. I rate Alpha Xylon a 4.5 stinky shits on my chest out of 5. If you're gonna play a game from 2007, play Halo 3, or COD Modern Warfare, or BioShock, or God of War 2. There's so many other games that you could have played. Now it's time for our final and probably most renowned game of this entire video. You know it, you love it. It's The Last Hope. Trump versus Mafia - North Korea. God, how do I even begin to synopsize this? Well, let's just start off with the menu. It appears they chose the ugliest font style they could find and what appears to be art from the Cyberpunk board game. Also, notice the lack of any settings or options buttons throughout the entire game. Oh, and as we're playing, keep in mind that this game costs more than all of the other games combined. When you first load in, you're lulled into a false sense of quality because you spawn in this cool looking bunker, you have weapons in front of you that you can actually pick up and kind of customize your loadout. And then you walk out and you're in a World War II era trench with enemies wearing modern day battle gear but using weapons from the 70s, and you quickly realize they just stole all these assets. Also, when you kill them, they turn into T-posing skeletons. I'm sure the 15-year-old that made this thought that was really funny, but we can all admit it's just fucking stupid. You fight your way through what looks to be a shitty recreation of the Stalingrad mission from COD World at War, and then you walk into this building and are met with the all too common sign of Unity Indie Dev who doesn't know how to bake lighting, so all of the shadows are just pitch fucking black. All that aside, I can excuse everything. The map design isn't the worst, and the character controller he stole feels kinda good. So we made it through the first level and went to what looks like China on the minimap. However, this is where the cranial skull fucking starts. Because in this mission, you're only given a sword, and all of the enemies are placed far away, and they don't miss shots, and you don't regenerate health. I don't know if I mentioned this, but this game also has no save points either, so every time you die, you reset right back to the fucking start. Does that sound fun? Tell me, does that sound fucking fun to you? The game also feels the need to include that the triad enemies you're fighting against in this level have been using robots to help strengthen their forces. However, these are the only two enemies you encounter in the entire mission. Which one is the triad and which one is the fucking robot? But after about 40 minutes of me brute forcing my way through this level and almost breaking down, I made it to the next, which took 5 minutes. It's almost like when you give me a fucking shooty weapon in a first-person shooter, the game is not that hard. I began to make my way through the 4th and final level of this shitty game, but I made the silly mistake of jumping on this barbed wire, which permanently trapped my character. I could not move, I could not jump, I could not crouch, I was stuck on this fucking barbed wire. So I went to the menu, saved, and quit to try and reload back in, except the continue button doesn't work, doesn't do shit. It won't load you back into the level you were on, it won't load you back to any checkpoints, nothing. You have to restart from the very fucking beginning. And God knows I'm not restarting this because I've already forced myself to endure an hour of this shitty game, and I think we can all kind of get the picture of what the rest of the game's gonna be like. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with spending $5 and never seeing the end of the shitty game. Not a single qualm in my mind. If you really want to see me go through and individually beat every single one of these games, let me know in the comments. But I'm not gonna do that unless this gets good views and you subscribe, so keep that in mind. I rate The Last Hope, Trump versus Mafia, 5 out of 5 stinky shits on my chest. This was fucking abysmal. But that is all the games I have methodically picked out for you guys. I hope you enjoyed. I didn't. I actually wasted $8 on this video to get fucking emotionally headbanged. Nope. If for some reason you guys want one of the trading cards that I got, DM me your Steam on Twitter and I'll just trade it to you for free because I don't fucking want them in my inventory. I don't want to be ever reminded of these games again in my entire life. If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like and comment. It helped out a lot. Subscribe if you want to stick around and see more. What else should I say? You know that saying where it's like, support pregnant teens, not teen pregnancy? Support indie devs. Don't support all indie dev games. Have a good night, guys, and I hope to see you again. Peace.